Okay, so there's a channel and video you need to go watch. Ed's Auto Reviews, episode 23, Van Life, the funky custom van craze of the 1970s. It's worth it. Just go watch it. It's an interesting video. But there's a part in it where he talks about how van life, or like the idea of owning a van, was spread by first. Someone wrote a song about picking up a woman in a van and fucking her and like dropping her off and shit. And that then led to the vansploitation craze of 1970s movies. I'd never heard of this. And then I realized that basically these are movies that center on the van or whatever vehicle it is. And I would put it to you that the best examples of this that I could think of are Stripes with its Winnebago van, whatever you want to call that, urban assault vehicle. That is totally vansploitation at its best. I Ghostbusters maybe even, although it's not really a van, but like that's so vehicle centric. Kind of like with Blues Brothers too. There's a lot of these like 70s things, and the killer one that none of you are gonna think is vansploitation, but totally is Star Wars. The Millennium Falcon is a fucking wizard van from the 70s in space. And the thing that made me realize this was Spaceballs. I was going, Spaceballs is vansploitation. I'm like, whoa. If Spaceballs is vansploitation, Star Wars is vansploitation. And more even than that, The Mandalorian with the Razor Crest. Oh my God, that's vansploitation too. I had never realized that this was a, genre of movie, or that some of my favorite shit was a, member of it, basically. Like, if Conan the Barbarian had a car, it would be a van. It'd be a shaggin' wagon. That's what the Millennium Falcon fucking is. It's not really what Mandalorian's fucking Razor Crest is. That's more of like that's more like my minivan is. Although I get a lot of dick in my minivan, so like maybe that's Mando's thing. Maybe you don't know what he's going after, and like if you're going after guys, they really aren't too particular about what your van looks like, which I think is hilarious because like I'm literally going to have a pile of skulls on the front of mine eventually. I think I'm gonna get like I want like some alligators and like maybe a bison and I don't know, some humans and like some robot skulls and just all sorts of shit, like looking like the Predator, just in like a mound on the front of my minivan, in front of the solar panel and roof rack. That van is mostly just like me trying to see how much random crazy shit I can bolt to it and still have guys fuck me in it. As it turns out, I think I can pretty much do whatever I want. Oh, I like the idea of the van. Like, I don't know. I've been watching a bunch of this guy's stuff on vans in particular, and this is aside from the vansploitation thing, but it gives you a lot of options or whatever. And like, this is why there's movies centered around adventuring in a van. You can't really have a movie around, well, I guess you can. There's, I was gonna say you can't have a movie around adventuring in a sports car, but that's kind of what James Bond does. But it's a different kind of adventure. The van, you have, so much more cargo space. You can bring all your own stuff with you, and like you could sleep in the back of it, especially if you got a shaggin' wagon, which all of the adventure vans in these vansploitation videos are. Like, think of like Shaft, but lower budget and centered around a van. Vansploitation. I uh, I kind of want to make a vansploitation movie now with Ghost Rider. Would that be bitching? Like
Oriented sportsman.
shit.
But added a little extra with the
The glow that you see is from the TV, and I literally paused that video to come make this. I don't know. It'd be cool to do like some sort of adventure video thing with that's kind of where like that's headed eventually. I'm like so far from that. So there's like $40 worth of small shit that I need. That part's easy, but like I need a roof rack. That's easy too. The part that's not easy is I want one more solar generator, a backup solar panel, some upgraded LED light bars and shit, and a winch. And that's before we even get to like lifting it and getting bigger tires and that kind of shit, which I'm not even sure I'm gonna do. I'm not sure that this car's gonna last long enough to be worth doing that too. I don't know. That's why a lot of the stuff that I'm buying for my van is bolt on or stuff that you just set in it. Like, I kind of figure that, like, cheap, half burned out minivans are probably always going to be a thing, at least for a little bit. I don't know what people are buying now instead of them, but that's going to suck because, like, minivans are going away. I think people are buying big SUVs instead, so maybe that'll be okay. Because, like, I could deal with a Suburban, but in reality, like, the minivan is kind of perfect for, the suburban slash highway adventurer, like whatever. Like, there's not much of America that I'd want to go to really that I can't go there on a road. And like that's kind of my thing is like the places that I would go might have dirt roads, and the minivan is more than capable of driving down dirt roads. Like, oh, what if there like is a spot where it's washed out or whatever? I've actually taken that minivan over some pretty big dips and dumps already, but that's kind of why I want to lift it. I think if I had it to do over again, I might get a bigger van next time. And I don't mean that because, like, oh, it's cramped inside or whatever. I mean that, like, for the fuel economy that thing gets, you might as well have a fucking, bigger, more off road capable, like, Ford van or something. Gun Websites style. Shout out to him. If you like van stuff, you should go check out Gun Websites. It still blows me away like how many movies are vansploitation movies at their core, especially like sci-fi. Because like once you've accepted that a starship and a van have roughly the same capabilities, as long as like you're talking about in their universes, if you can't leave the planet and you're stuck on the ground, a van and the Millennium Falcon are the same fucking thing. You know, it takes you throughout your universe. I think that's kind of dope. That's half of why, like, I'm building like the ultimate Mandalorian bounty hunter minivan, Mad Max style, because I don't know, it seems like a thing to do. I looked at the car market when I sold my FJ Cruiser. I got $28,000 for that thing. I looked at the car market and went, yeah, I'm not spending what people are asking for this shit. And I kind of always wanted to make a fucking crazy minivan. And I went looking around and I found one cheap. I was actually looking at spending 10 grand on a 4-wheel drive Toyota minivan. I kind of wish I had done that. I think that van would have lasted me a lot longer. Oh, well. I like that I got a Honda, and I like that it's older, but it comes with problems, and it means I'm going to need money to fix it. It's just a matter of time. But for now, she drives really good. Anyway, this has been Vansploitation. I'll see you guys later.